Chapter 11, Pest Control. Our objectives here, we're going to define an integrated pest management. It's a system that we use so that we can identify and we can take care of the things we don't want in our kitchen. How we identify signs of pest activity, explain how to prevent pest access, food and shelter, the things that they're looking for, and then describe the manager's role in pest programs. What is an integrated pest management? So it's a proactive approach. What does proactive mean? Right, preemptive, something that we're actually actively looking to do rather than being reactive, right, coming back after we've already got an infestation, a problem going on. So it's a proactive approach combining prevention and monitoring and control. So we focus on eliminating pest conditions, not just killing the actual pests. It requires cooperation between management and the licensed pest control operator, the PCO. So those two things, the IPM and the PCO, the integrated pest management and the pest control operator, those two, it's not unusual for them to abbreviate those to IPM or PCO. So be aware of that, because you need to know what those are. Okay, so the pest control operator, they're the individual who comes in, who has the knowledge to be able to get rid of your pest issues. But you have to work with them. You can't just be expecting them to come in, spray a bunch of bug spray down, and all the bugs go away if you still have a filthy environment that's going to still harbor more coming in. Prevention is the first and most important control step. We have a 3-step system with our IPM. We deny pests access to the establishment. We deny pests food, water, and shelter, the things that they came in for. And then we work with that licensed PCO for monitoring and eradication. So what are the signs of a pest infestation? Poop. It's going to be one of the biggest things. So droppings, nests that they may have created, or grease marks. Very, very normal when you look at rodents. If there's gnawing or chewed packaging around, if I'm looking at a bag of flour and there's a hole on the side and you can see where there's small little teeth that have been chewing away on it. Strong musty odors. Dead or live insects, rodents, shed wings from ants maybe, and then body parts, for, like legs and things like that you might find from various different insects. So let's look at our common pest indicators that we have. So rodents. It's not unusual to see droppings, things that have been gnawed on, like wires, grease trails, where they drag along behind themselves and you leave a trail of grease. And then nesting areas, nesting materials that they pull together if they're planning on breeding new additional items to the family. So they prefer dark, undisturbed storage areas. So if you have a quiet room that's dark, warm, maybe a hot water tank sitting in there, there might be food in there, it's rarely ever cleaned and disturbed, perfect place if I'm a rat. Then we have cockroaches, capsules, shaped eggs, capsule-shaped egg cases, oily odor, and then dark droppings. There'll be very small droppings, but you'll see them dotted around. So there'll be millions of them. They love warm, moist areas near food and water. Flies. So flies create larvae or maggots, and they land on waste, and they'll be buzzing around your head everywhere if you see them or hear them. They love garbage and drains. They're attracted to matter that's breaking down, because it makes it really easy for them to be able to consume. So if you have trash receptacles which are dirty, which haven't been cleaned, which don't have tight-fitting lids and doors on them, then yeah, you're going to have a bunch of them in there. If it's wet and moist, then things rot even more. They're attracted to the gases that are let off from rotting garbage and from the drains. Ants. So you'll find a little trail of ants going to sugary products or greasy foods. any cracks or counters and then foundations where they can come up through, they'll find a way. So if there's a food source, there'll literally be thousands of them all in one trail going back and forth, back and forth. They're very efficient. And then stored product pests like weevils and beetles. You find these things in grains and flour. You can get weevils and small beetles can be in there in dry storage bins. That's why we always should inspect these things. And yeah, the fact is, my bag of flour will keep for years. If it's intact and kept dry, it'll keep for years. The problem is I could have weevils or I could have beetles literally growing in there. So that's why I always rotate my stock. Even though it lasts for years, it would be so easy just to dump the next 25-pound bag of flour on top of the other one, but I don't. I always rotate. An IPM flow layout. So this is where, when we're looking at how we control pests, so we should have inspections. We should work on prevention of those bugs and things coming in. And then we should do monitoring, keeping an eye out for any of these things, making it back in again, and then control them. And then we just kind of circle right back around. So if we've had a pest control operator come into our facility, and they've sprayed down some various different products, or they put out different traps, maybe for rodents or whatever it might be, then we don't just leave it to them to, all right, yeah, they've got it. I don't have to worry about it. Do we need to mop the floor? Nah, don't worry about it. We've got the pest control operator in now. Right? It's a team effort. So you have to maintain your establishment better than you ever have if you have any of these pests coming in. But then it's all about, if you've got someone coming in to try and control them, you must then go all the way back to the beginning and be inspecting. And then once you see that they're gone, now you need to be preventing them from coming back in. Do you have windows that sometimes are open, but make sure that you've got like the mesh, the mesh on the windows so that things can't fly in and out? Well, if there's a damage to that mesh, then you need to put a new one on there or not open that window, right? We need to make sure that we're preventing things from getting in. If there's any cracks, there's a crack in the door that's tiny. If you look all the way down the bottom here, the hole size for a rat is $0.50. It's about that big. A rat can just get through there. When you're looking at mice, the size of a nickel, right? You're looking at a size that small, mice can get in and out freely into your establishment. It doesn't take much. The general range of things like rats, they'll move between 100 and 150 feet from their nesting area. That's a pretty significant space to go from. Right, that'll be from that classroom, from my classroom on that side, all the way through into the kitchen, to the far side of the kitchen. They'll happily meander through and meander all the way back through. Mice is a smaller amount, 10 to 30 feet. That's still a sufficient amount to get from your storage area into your food preparation area and back again. So inspections, we should be regular facility walkthroughs for pest evidence. Prevention, we should be sealing gaps, window screens, maintaining sanitation. Monitoring, setting traps, and keeping logs of all things we've seen. And then controlling, use targeted treatments with pest control operators. Targeted treatments, that means we are not walking in with some bug spray and just spraying at the flying bugs flying around our heads, because we're probably going to be settling a bunch of bug juice all over our food and contaminating it and possibly poisoning people with that as well. That's why we always work with a pest control operator, because they will only put poisons and things in specific areas that minimize the possibility of them ever getting into food, but also maximize the opportunity for them to work. And then record keeping, documenting everything that you're doing. Denying pest access, sealing cracks and openings, installing door sweeps, keeping windows screened and air curtains operating. What's an air curtain? Anyone ever used an air curtain before?
I don't think so.
Has anybody ever walked out of my back door in the kitchen?
Oh.
That's an air curtain.
Oh, the air pressure.
That's, yes. So the instant that you open that door, even just a crack, boom, it kicks in, right? Really fast. And it blasts a curtain of air. Right? So the idea of that, insects, flying insects, their wings are really easy to damage. The whole idea is that you go and make it to where it's turbulent air right at the entrance of the door. Immediately when that door opens, flying insects will fly away. You may get one or two come in. You know, they can't. Yeah, it's not impossible for them to get in, but it's rare, right? Because flying insects don't like turbulent air. So air curtains are critical to any outdoor, right? We don't need it at this door over here because because hopefully flies won't make it all the way through the building and into here, but they are much more likely to be able to come in from outside. So any door that opens directly outside, you should have an air curtain on it. Inspect deliveries before storage. Make sure that those strawberries don't have fruit flies all over them. Because if they do, guess who's going to have an infestation of fruit flies by next week? Oh yeah, and they can be really tough to get rid of. Right, so it's little things like that, making sure that we inspect all of our deliveries. Close exterior doors when they're not in use. Access control is cheaper and safer than extermination. Extermination can get very expensive and very time consuming, and it can be very frustrating. Denying pests food and water. Cleaning up spills immediately. Store food in sealed pest-proof containers. Removing garbage and recyclables daily. Keeping drains and grease traps clean and dry. The more reasons that they have to come in, the more reasons they're going to find, and they'll come on in and they'll hang out. Because once they're in, it's hard to get rid of them. Very hard. Waste and garbage management. Garbage stored in covered, leak-proof containers. Outdoor dumpsters should have tight-fitting lids on non-absorbent surfaces. They should be sitting on like a concrete pad, something like that. Remove trash frequently. Keep areas around the dumpsters clean and graded for drainage. You don't want to have it where there's sitting water around your trash receptacle areas, because otherwise moisture and rotting foods, because that's a lot of what's in the kitchen food waste, right? There's lots of rotting food. You're only going to be attracting lots of things to come see you. Pests need food and moisture, and waste control removes both of those. Working with a licensed pest control operator, a PCO. Use only licensed professionals for pesticide application. Keep MSDS and SDS sheets. What's an SDS sheet? Safety data sheets, right? So keep those with the additional items which they are using as well, right? Because now all of a sudden in our facility we have additional chemicals now being used. You should have those on record with your SDS sheet books. Schedule treatments after hours or when food is protected, so that way nothing can get damaged. And then maintain treatment logs and service reports. They should help you with all of that kind of stuff as well, but you should keep all of those logs. What responsibilities do the managers have? So we're monitoring pest control logs and invoices, training staff to identify early signs of infestations. We can get rid of them right when they walk in the door, much easier than we can when they brought all their buddies and then started breeding. Ensure food and utensils are covered during treatments and verify corrective actions are properly completed. Preventative maintenance, repair leaks, seal entry points promptly, maintain screens and door seals, clean under and behind equipment regularly, and inspect deliveries and storage areas frequently. Let's do some questions. So the first step in an integrated pest management is to use pesticides, deny pest access, call a PCO, or set traps. B. Are you sure? Yeah. We're denying access, right? First thing that we're going to do is we're going to stop them from even coming in. I don't have to eliminate pests if I didn't let them in the first place. Right, so first thing we're doing, we don't let them in. After that, that's when we're going to have to get the pest control operator involved. Which sign indicates a rodent infestation? Grease trails and droppings, egg cases, shed wings, and small piles of sawdust. Yep, grease trails and droppings. They poop everywhere. Cockroaches prefer which type of environment? Cold and dry, warm and moist, hot and bright, cold and dark. They like warm and moist atmosphere they like. What is the manager's responsibility when pesticides are used? apply them personally, ensure food is uncovered, keep chemical records and verify license applications, or allow overnight ventilation. Yep. So we're going to keep chemical records in our SDS sheet books, and then we're going to verify that we have a licensed pest control operator managing all of this. Which action prevents pests from accessing our food? Cleaning spills immediately, leaving food open for cooling, reducing lighting, or using fans. So yes, we're looking at cleaning spills immediately because it's spills that can attract those pests in the first place, especially if they're not cleaned up regularly and it's allowed to build up. Our manager's responsibilities are to inspect and document pest control efforts, train employees to report sightings, keep storage and trash areas clean and dry, and coordinate licensed PCOs or pest control operators for treatment. So we have IPM, an integrated pest management, combines prevention, monitoring, and control. We maintain facility integrity and sanitation, work only with licensed pest control operators, and we document all actions to verify compliance. That's 11.